Peyton, this thing you said. You go, does anyone else create stories about people they see often but don't know? Explain, please.
So my neighbors, I see them often, and they come and go, when they have their lives. And I've created stories about them just in my own head. And I don't really say hi or anything like that. I just pick up on the things that they do. So, for example, one of our neighbors, it's a couple, and they're a young couple, and they have a little baby daughter, and she's still an infant. She's still in, the little car seat, can't walk, and then they have a cute little dog. So in my head, I'm like, they're just a really happy family. They're probably not married yet, but they're planning a wedding, and I go through this whole thing. And then every morning, I see this lady on my way to work, and she's walking up and down the sidewalk, and she looks content, but there's also kind of a little bit of sadness to her. I can see it in her eyes. So in my head, I'm like, she's a mom. Her husband just passed. She has 3 kids.
You're making all this up.
I'm making it all up. I have no idea. I'm like, she has 3 kids, but her family's not really that close, but she's content because she gets to see her grandkids. So I've created these elaborate stories, and every time I see them, I think about them, and I'm like, I hope you guys are doing good.
We used to know someone that was Buddhist. And they used to say, and maybe I'm reading it wrong at a different level, but they used to say, whatever you see in other people is what you see in yourself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So maybe you're a happy little couple with an infant. You just don't know about it.
I just don't know about it. Yeah. And then our downstairs neighbor, I'm assuming that she's a night nurse because I see her walk out in her scrubs sometimes, but her car's there until 8:30. But then when I get back home from work, her car's back. So I'm like, she just worked a 12-hour shift. She's probably taking a nap. So every time
That's probably right.
So every time I walk past her house, I try to be really quiet. So I don't
She's a night nurse. Can't bother her. She's got to get her brain on.
What if you ever slipped up and said something to him? How's hey, things will cheer up. Things will be okay.
Not your 12-hour shift.
About?
I just think it's so funny. And when I told Kadeem I do that, he just looked at me like I'm really weird.
I feel like Scott and I do that, if we're at dinner and we see a couple across from us and they look like they're engaged in each other, they're speaking, neither one of them are looking at our phone. We try to decide, they're probably on their 3rd date, and so they're still really into each other. They still want to impress each other, so their phones are put away. Or if you see a couple who's on their phones, not paying attention to each other, we're like, oh yeah, they've been married for a long time. Mm-hmm. They're just kind of out because it's their only night without the kids. Totally. I literally do the same thing just when we go out to eat.
Okay,
do you ever go next level? Because sometimes I'll ask the server what's going on with that table, because you'll see people that don't look like they belong together at all. You're like, do you know if that's a work thing or they have to go out here? Because it's you'll see 3 guys and a girl. It's is she with one of them or is it a work thing because she's on her phone and they're not? I'll ask the server to check it out for us.
We don't do that. We just use our imagination.
Because at some point you want closure to know how right you were.
It's very rare for me to do that unless there's something particular about the person at the table or somewhere. I think I told you guys at a restaurant one time, and the guy sitting in front of me, facing the other way, was missing an arm. Just had his stump hanging out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how'd that happen? What's that story? And I so badly want to ask him, but then I make up the stories in my head of how he lost his arm.
Yeah.
Right?
And then it gets so elaborate.
I know. So, anyway, it looks like you're not alone in this. I think actually your stories are pretty elaborate because Kyle does it when she's at restaurants.
Yeah.
Same with Rich. You do it with the people you live around in your apartment complex.
My own little community. I've really created a storyline for all of us.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
That's funny. I don't talk to any of my neighbors. I try not to. And I don't want to know their story. I don't want to know their makeup story.
I feel because of your wife, you're so involved in your neighbors and you don't want to be.
It's pretty bad. She knows everybody. It's terrible.
Yeah, I think I know everybody, at least on my street. Maybe a few streets over I don't. But everybody on my street.
And she knows all the dogs, all their names when they come and bark. And she knows everybody at the grocery store. Everybody. The guy putting the carts in.
Yeah, she's just a happy lady.
Anyway, speaking of happy, let me give you the opposite of that. Let me run this by you guys. So my son Jake, he's 21 years old, and he's really into working out and exercising. He loves it. And he's got a handful of friends. All his friends go to Anytime Fitness, right? We have kind of a gym at the house where he can work out, and he's happy working out there. But when he wants to go be with his friends, I get it, right? So we're like, okay, you want to join Anytime Fitness? Go ahead. We'll take care of it. Because we pay for his brothers to get their basketball training and all this stuff. So, okay, we'll pay for you to go to Anytime Fitness. Has anybody here ever signed up for Anytime Fitness?
No.
Listen to this. My wife's gets home. She's not going to believe this. Anytime Fitness, $99 sign-up fee. And then every 2 weeks, you have to pay $29.99. And then you have to pay a $49 cleaning fee.
Excuse me?
Every month?
Yeah. Doesn't that seem outrageous?
That's like LA Fitness type prices. That's very foofy gym.
I almost
prices.
feel like, why do they break it down like that? Why wouldn't they just say it's like $120 a month?
It reminds
Or
me of
some-
like
whatever that adds up to be.
when you travel with an airline, you got to pay for your bag.
Yeah,
that is interesting.
But it's like, why do I got to pay for you to clean? Why are you giving us a cleaning fee?
That's weird.
That's weird.
I
I
can't
wonder.
stop. It happened a few days ago, and I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I think that's just how expensive things are nowadays too.
I don't know. You go to EOS and you get like $12 a month out the door. You
What's
know?
the pull with Anytime Fitness? Like, what's over there that they can have the
It's
prices
Anytime.
so high?
Well, he was telling me that
makes
he has this app now on his phone, and you rub it against the whatever, and the door clicks open, and you go in and you work out. But if you sneak someone else in, they charge that person $50, right, to sneak someone in. I go, well, how can they tell if you sneak someone in? Because if it's 2:00 in the morning, because you can go anytime. He said, well, there's somebody at the front desk. I'm like, then why do you need the little thing to open to the door? I don't understand Anytime Fitness. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you walk in, there's somebody at the door. Hey, man, sign in, you go.
Because
right?
I think you would definitely want someone there.
I think so, but I don't think they have someone there.
I don't think they do either.
Right. I
But
mean,
the
maybe
one-
in the daytime, but not at 2:00 in the morning.
The one
Not
by my
at
house
any
just
time.
closed, so I don't know.
It closed?
Yeah.
Probably the cleaning fees. People want to pay the cleaning fees.
Too
Yeah,
much.
that's wild.
Now you can work out there anytime, and you don't need to have a membership because there's nobody in there. It's just boarded up.
That's
It reminds me of like, and also I said when Blake signed him up, I was like, what about when you want to cancel? She goes, oh, I didn't ask. Because that's where they get you too.
Uh-huh.
You got to pay all this money to cancel, or you can never cancel.
Yeah, or you have to like cancel 60 days in advance or something, or they still charge you for it or whatever.
I'm telling you, man, Peyton, don't have kids.
I'm not
That's
planning
what
on it.
That's
You learn from
terrible
this.
advice.
I'm not
But do
planning
have
on
babies,
it
'cause we
right
want
You
you
have
to have
kids.
babies.
Eventually, they want to work out.
There could be worse things.